Welcome to Stories in the Dark, a podcast about strange and creepy things. Come listen to the dark. This week's story is called Two Trees in the Forest. It was inspired by a photograph I saw of two trees that were in this really dark and creepy forest. And between the two trees was a light. It was a string of light that looked like it had been electrified, like the filament in an old-fashioned light bulb right before it pops. As soon as I saw that, I knew I had to write this story. I wrote it in one sitting a few years ago and have only slightly updated it since then. What's interesting is that a few people have tried to get me to turn it into a full-length book, and I've tried. I sat down, I wrote some additional chapters, but I think that sometimes a story wants to stay a story, and this one doesn't want to be a book, no matter how hard I try. So here we go, Two Trees in the Forest. And as always, if you enjoy this week's podcast, please go ahead and leave a review on whatever service you're using and click the subscribe button. The more subscribers and the more reviews I have, the more you're helping me out so that I can continue to share my stories with you. Thank you so much. There are two trees in the forest, she said. I waited, but she didn't say anything else. The counselors had told me to be normal with her. Let her talk, let her not talk. Don't push her. As her oldest friend, closer than sisters, she might tell me something. I wanted to ask her about the blood. We were 13, and I wanted to ask her about the blood on her hands and on her face and about her own blood on her legs. It's a forest, Danny. Are you trying to tell me about two particular trees? She shrugged and looked away, out the window of the attic we often played in. Tell me about the trees. I sounded so patient. I felt so grown up. She looked back at me, untrusting at first, and then she smiled her quick ray of sunshine smile at me. I felt the warmth of it. The forest is the forest, of course, but there are two trees, two special trees. Once you see them, they are the only trees you can see. There are no other trees in the forest. I felt like she was telling me a riddle. My friend, my dark and mysterious friend with the smile she stole from the sun, the smile I had just seen for the first time in a long while. Why are the trees so special? I asked. She pulled her knees in close to her chest and played with her toes, her long dark hair hiding her face. I don't know. They glow? There's a light? She paused, turned her head to look out the window again. The sun went away. They're just trees. She hadn't been the same since she walked out of the woods a month ago, barefoot and dirty and with knots in her hair. She had been missing for days, the whole village looking for her, and then there she was, walking with blood on her hands. Not her blood. They tested it. Not her blood. And on her face, horror in her eyes, and her own dried blood on her legs. She didn't speak for weeks. Not a word, not a hello, my friend. When she finally spoke, she asked about her cat, dead for 6 months. She asked if her cat came back. No, sweetie, Jack is gone, her mom reminded her that first day she spoke, a week after she came back. Jack is dead. Every day she asked, did Jack come back too? No, sweetie, I'm sorry. She kept looking out the window. We were in the high attic room at the top of her house, the tallest house in our very small town, and she was bundled up in the window seat with a heavy blanket on her lap. I wanted her to smile again. Instead, she looked across the lawn, watching the edge of the forest that bordered her house. He promised he would come back with me, Callie, she said. I felt a chill. Who had been with her in the forest? Suddenly, I didn't want to know what happened. I wanted to stay 13. Danny, what do you mean about the trees? Should I find them? I didn't know why I said that. I didn't want to know about the trees, but I wanted her to talk to me. No, 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 she was practically shouting. Never, never go to the trees. You only go if they call you. She closed her eyes. No, especially don't go if they call you. When she opened her eyes again, they were a darker shade of gray. Pray to God they don't call you, Callie. Stay away, out of the forest, away from the trees. Don't listen to the trees. I reassured her, apologized, and reassured her some more. I didn't ask her about the trees, and she didn't mention them again. Every night, those words echo eerily in my head. There are 2 trees in the forest. The next day, they found Danny's body, broken, on the ground outside the attic window of her house, her parents' house, the tallest house in our very small town. Her left arm was stretched out as if she were reaching for the forest just past the lawn of her house. Reaching or being pulled.